Hi there, friends. Before we dive in, we want to let you know something important. While this podcast does feature a marriage and family therapist, we are not your therapist. This is a space for informational and educational purposes only. We're here to have a deep conversation over coffee. If you find yourself feeling stuck or overwhelmed, we encourage you to reach out to a trusted therapist, counselor, coach in your area who can give you personalized support you deserve. Because let's be real, life is way too hard to go at it alone, and your emotions are way too valuable to ignore. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get to the good stuff.
I think most of us have spent most of our lives resisting ourselves, resisting our own, and condemning ourselves, judging ourselves. Like, what's wrong with me? How come when I see that person's car, I just, I like it? Well, you do. It's just a joy experience. Now, don't go steal the dude's car. You're not allowed to do that, and don't go buy one like it that you can't afford. That's the behavior. That's the action. Like you referenced. But most people spend all of their energy trying to not experience joy about that, whatever that is, to not feel hurt, to not feel lonely, to not feel fear. Well, you just do. It's brain chemistry. And, for you, which before we started recording, you said, oh, I'm feeling fear about the podcast. And for me to say, well, don't feel that, Jonathan. Don't just stop it, dude. Well, John, what's Jonathan going to do? I mean, he does. Hello, world. I am excited because I'm here with someone that I have grown to just really, really love and admire. And his future, I love young connection coders because I always say I'm old. And my dream is that this becomes prevalent all over the world. We need it so desperately in so many different places. So it's these young people that we're looking to that hopefully will live much longer than we do and take this to the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. Okay, I'm going to tell on you, Jonathan, because my first exposure to Jonathan was last year. He emailed us and said that he was halfway through translating the Connection Codes book into Spanish. And when I read that, I was like, oh, he's confessing his sins freely. That's called intellectual theft. He's stealing my book from me. But actually, he was contacting us to let us know that he wanted to collaborate and figure out how to partner in all of this. But I remind him of his sin confession occasionally, just that I know who he really is at heart. But Jonathan, thank you so much for being here. I, of course, love being with you anywhere, anytime. But it's really cool to have you on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Glenn. It's an honor to be here. I'm like,
Mm.
wow, just thinking about me a year ago, listening to the podcast, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing an episode with Dr. Glenn now. Like, that sounds surreal.
Yeah, I love it. Well, give our audience just a little feel of who you are and just all your vital statistics, and get them introduced to you.
Yeah, well, I'm Jonathan Hernandez, born and raised in Mexico City, and I am 25 years old. I've been dating my girlfriend Monse for a year and a half, almost a year and a half, a year and 5 months. And I lived in California for 3 years, did BSSM for those BSSMers out there that know about it. And I'm a psychology student right now and a certified connection coach. And also starting the whole connection coach world in Spanish.
Which is just, and that's one of many things I just admire so much about you, that you just have this vision. And anytime I'm with you, it just feels like it just seems smooth to you. You're just like, yep, we're doing this thing. We've got a little less than 1 billion Spanish speaking people on the planet, and we need to reach them all. And I just admire that about you. And maybe you're just young enough that you don't know better. I don't know. But for me, at least, as a person that's been around for a bit, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. And anytime I'm with you, I just get this sense that, yep, we're doing this thing, which I just think is inspirational.
Wow, I'm glad that happens because I definitely do feel the fear.
It's cool. Well, and I do have to just tell the audience that let's see. So we met face to face the first time in San Miguel.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
And then we just got back from Mexico City a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
and I got to spend about a week and a half to 2 weeks together, and just had a phenomenal adventure together. But give us a little background as far as how you discovered the connection codes and what got your attention about them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I remember being back in Reading with my mentor at the time, who was Peter Mattis, and I didn't know he was friends with you, but he had an emotion wheel on his fridge,
Mm,
and I was like, "What is that? Like
mm,
emotion wheel? Like why do you
wow.
have so many bad emotions on that wheel? Like so
Mm,
many negative things." And I remember him just explaining emotions and going through it, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird. If you want to do that, you can do it. Like, I don't know if I'll
mm,
do it." And then he also had the connection codes book in his house, right? And most people back then had it in their house. So you would go to somebody's house and you'd see the connection codes book. And I'd be like,
wow.
what is this connection codes thing? But I've always been like, I'm not gonna do what everybody else is doing. So like I'm not even gonna look at it. And then fast forward like 2 years after that, or like a year and something, I started dating my girlfriend, and I was listening to a podcast, Jason and Lauren Balatin's podcast, and they were
Mhm.
talking about connection codes, and you
Yeah.
were on it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go give these people a listen, change my world. And I was like, I need to read that book, and that's when I started reading it. And yeah, it was at the very, very beginning of our dating relationship, and I knew we needed help because like we are so different, like different worlds, you know. And then I'd be like, oh wow, like all these things happen for you and they don't happen for me, and then what happens for me doesn't happen for you, so like what do we even do here? So in that it was just like, wow, like just mind blowing to see how this thing could get us connected. And that's kind of like how
Mm,
I got into connection codes. Then I got an email about certification, and I was like, yes, I want to do that. Like I want to get certified, I want to help other people connect, and I want to learn how to do this better. So
yeah.
yeah, that's kind of like how I've been progressing through it, and also just being like, we need this in Spanish, so we need to translate it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but hone in on that because, as you mentioned, you're a psychology student, so you've been exposed to a lot of stuff, and there's a ton of information out there. There's a whole bunch of people waving, going, "Pay attention to this, pay attention to this." What got your attention about the connection codes? That you said, "Okay, I gotta slow down and take time with this."
Right, right. I would say the main thing that got my attention with connection codes was kindness of it. Like, oh, like this is a really kind way of looking at my emotions. You know, like I know like ACT and like all this like cognitive CBT stuff, and that was really cool, and I would like read books about it and be like, yeah, this is great, but I don't know if I can do this in real life. You know, like how am I going to remember to do all these things that like all these like concepts of my brain, and then just like meditating like this, and then when you feel the anger, when you feel, so I was like, this is kind of complicated. But what I loved about connection codes was that it was not complicated. It was like, oh, I can do that. I can ask what happens to myself and to other people. I can do that emotion wheel with just 8 emotions instead of like a whole billion of emotions that I don't even know where to start. um so that's what drew me in, where I was like, and also your story with Phyllis, where I was like, oh wow, like you guys had like this crazy marriage for like 20 something years, and now you're connected, like what? um yeah, so that was the main thing for me that got me hooked into it.
So, what was the best part of the? And you kind of already mentioned that, but what's your favorite part as far as connection goes? The thing that just kind of grabs you and washes over you.
Oh, I guess it's the fact that emotions happen to me, and that I don't need to, and I can't control my emotions, but I can control my next action, my behavior. That's been mind blowing to me, because like, growing up a Christian and just in a Christian environment and everything, it's like, oh no, you looked at that girl and you lust after her because you felt your body just be like, whoa, joy, because she's pretty, right? And then just be like, oh, you're so bad, and I would just go with so much shame and shame and shame, and then just being like, oh yeah, joy, that doesn't mean I am sinful. That doesn't mean something's wrong. I can just, yeah, that girl passed by. It's cute. Joy about that. That's it. And that helped me so much with not staying stuck in a cycle of shame of like, oh no, like I'm feeling this thing, or like, I don't know, I'm feeling anxiety about schoolwork or just a new thing that I'm going to do, and I feel fear. Um, and just being like, yeah, wow, I can hear that fear. I can see that firing up for me. Instead of like, don't feel fear. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, you should know better. You've done this so many times, you know? So, like, even right now, it's like, oh, I just feel fear that we're going to do this podcast. I don't even know what I'm going to say. And I can be present with that instead of trying to overcome it in some way, or just be like, oh, I'm fearless. So, that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioning before just the kindness, which I totally agree with. Um, I think most of us have spent most of our lives. Of course, you're young, so I just laugh at your pain. It's like, please, you haven't had that much pain, and I know that your pain is real to you. I don't want to disregard that, but it's just I think most of us have spent most of our lives resisting ourselves, resisting our own, and condemning ourselves, judging ourselves. Like, what's wrong with me? How come when I see that person's car, I just I like it. Well, you do. It's just a joy experience. Now, don't go steal the dude's car. You're not allowed to do that. And don't go buy one like it that you can't afford. That's the behavior. That's the action, like you referenced. But most people spend all of their energy trying to not experience joy about that, whatever that is, to not feel hurt, to not feel lonely, to not feel fear. Well, you just do. It's brain chemistry. And, for you, which before we started recording, you said, oh, I'm feeling fear about the podcast. And for me to say, well, don't feel that, Jonathan. Don't just stop it, dude. Well, John, what's Jonathan going to do? I mean, he does feel fear. No, Jonathan, stop it. And now all that, of course, we share this all the time on the podcast. All that does is gets Jonathan to stop sharing with me. And then I think I've accomplished something because I'm like, boy, Jonathan doesn't experience that fear anymore. No. He just doesn't share it anymore with me and maybe not with anybody. And of course, that's part of my story. My fear is that I wounded thousands of people over the years. And I walked away thinking I'd done a good thing. It's like, man, Jonathan never feels fear anymore. I helped him to be stronger, to walk with the Lord better. No, I didn't. I just told him to shut up. And then he did. He shut up. He doesn't share with me anymore. And again, maybe doesn't share with anybody. And so now all of this is stuck inside of him. The research says that it actually affects your cells, uh, and it gets stuck in your body. So I love that aspect. And of course, for me, I'm such a, you've heard Phyllis say, Glenn had enough emotions for both of us. Was such an emotional person. I didn't know what to do with this. I mean, I was going uh, insane because I was constantly told, you're too emotional, you're too emotional, too emotional. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be emotional. I'm just experiencing emotional. Stop it. You know, give it to God. And I'm just like, I don't know what that means because I gave it to God yesterday and now I feel hurt and pain and sad and fear and shame today. And it was just so overwhelming.
Yeah. And then you feel so much guilt and shame for feeling those other emotions because you gave it to God. You supposedly gave them to God and you prayed, and then it's like, well, I still feel fear, you know? And there's just that part of like, oh, can God be with me in my fear? Can I be with myself in my fear?
And again, just the safety for yourself. And, I've just learned that the last several years with Connection Codes is it's really about the individual. Because I'm a marriage therapist as far as background and training. So I was all like, oh, it's all about marriage. And people started telling me, no, this isn't about marriage. This is about human. And I was like, what? No, that's a bad idea. It's supposed to be about marriage. And of course, then I found out, oh, it's just about human. And to be gentle with yourself, to realize that you experience what you experience. So, what has been the most challenging aspect of the connection codes for you?
That's a hard, well, I mean, well, no, it's an easy question. The hard thing is the hard thing for me, right? So I think oohing the people closest to me. Like, as a coach, you can ooh whoever, they come with whatever, and you're like, yeah, it's so easy to ooh them and be like, oh wow, yeah, and what else happens for you? But I realized that the people dearest to my heart and closest to me, that I really don't want them to feel pain, it's so hard to ooh them. And it's been definitely like a whole practice thing for me. Like at first, with like, even when I see my girlfriend just like flooded with pain, my first instinct is like, I want to fix it, like I want to fix it, I want to go and just like you just do this and that, like, or listen to the thing, and then you'll be good. And I've realized over time that that doesn't actually help. I mean, it could help after she processed her emotion, but not in the middle of it. And I'm just like trying to do things, and she's like, just feeling this thing. So I've realized the power of the ooh, which is crazy, but it's also been hard, probably the hardest thing for me, to be like, wow, like, what else is happening with that? Or even just to ooh and repeat to her what I heard from her. Like at first I would think I would do nothing, like I'm not doing anything, I'm just sitting here. But then when I saw it happening, like when I saw her feeling heard and processing the emotion, and then like a couple of minutes after that she would be happy and like, just enjoy life, I'd be like, wow, wait, I didn't do anything. Like I didn't do anything to fix her. I was only making space for her to process it. And there's times when that's more challenging, where either her or I don't know what we're feeling, even with my parents, and it's like, hey, what else is happening with that? And then you feel the anger of like, oh, don't ask me that right now. It's like, okay, but like, what do we do here? Um, and just kind of like oohing there. It's like, oh, yeah, I get that. I hear that. Just seeing how that helps the other person process the emotion so fast. And then they're just like, okay. And even with myself, owing myself, with like, I would just beat up myself for feeling fear, like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid because like, like I'm 25, and I'm gonna be 30 soon, and I'm not rich yet, like I didn't do this and that, and like, how am I gonna get married? Like, where am I gonna live? All those things. And wing that has been amazing for me, because then I can see the message behind and what I actually care about, and kind of like listen to that and be like, oh yeah, I should probably plan for this. That doesn't mean like I can drown in the fear, but I can listen to it and just be like, oh. And I feel like oohing other people close to me, especially, has helped me ooh myself as well. And that changes so much for me, where I'm like, even just scrolling on social media for like, I don't know, 10 minutes, and I get hit with shame because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm doing this and I know I should be doing something productive, right? And just listening to that and being like, I get it. I also get why I went here. I didn't want to, I don't know, keep doing that whatever daunting task, and I just wanted to escape. Probably not the best thing to do. Um, but I can get it. I can ooh it, and then I can just keep doing what I was doing, or move, shift. Um, it was so hard for me to do that before learning how to ooh. Like I was just like, oh my gosh, so much shame that I am scrolling, and then more shame, and then I keep doing it, and then and then you're just like, oh, you're stuck in that thing. And I feel like oohing the closest people to me has helped me ooh myself, which was probably the hardest thing for me, which has helped me be unstuck and just kind of like go through the emotions instead of like trying to stop them, or even behaviors. Yeah.
Yeah, and we said all the time, part of the power of the connection codes is the simplicity of this.
Hmm.
And I'm fairly academic. I've accumulated a few degrees and certifications. The vast majority of it was unnecessary.
Hmm.
We say humans are very complex. We're also pretty darn simple.
Yeah.
And to be able to ooh yourself and just slow down to go in the three phrases, what happened for me? What happened? What happened? What happened? And you can do that in just a few seconds. And
Yeah.
that's what's amazing, is how quickly we change the trajectory. At the end of the Connection Codes book, there's that little section called trajectory.
Hmm.
And if we can slow down for 6 seconds, 10 seconds, it changes everything.
Yeah.
Whereas if we, and that's the reason we say slower is faster. If we go fast, we're just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening, and we just keep going. Whereas if we can slow down literally for 10 seconds,
Yeah.
and that's certainly true in relationships, but it's true for ourselves, just like that. It's such a great example where you're scrolling on your phone and you go, oh, and I don't know about you, but for me, I'm like, oh, I feel a little bit of guilt, oh, some shame in this. Oh, what's happening with guilt and shame?
Hmm.
Oh, because I got this other thing I really should be prioritizing instead of whatever, playing a game or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to shift this behavior. There's no judgment in it. I'm not condemning myself to hell or anything. I'm
Hmm.
just like, okay, I missed on that. Let me do that differently, and I can do that in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And now I'm a better version of myself because I'm like, oh yeah, I was supposed to get that thing done. Shoot,
Yeah.
I'm glad guilt tapped me on the shoulder and got my attention. And now I end up being more successful, a better version of myself. And again, there's no judgment in it. I'm not damning myself. I'm just like, I missed on that.
Yeah.
Okay. And that can happen so fast.
Hmm.
I don't have to do a whole lot of psychoanalysis.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of my favorite things that you say is how shame is one of your favorite emotions, or I think your favorite emotion, because you grow up thinking that you have to get rid of shame, that you should never feel it. If you feel it, you're wrong. There's something wrong with you. I mean, that's the message of shame. Um, and then you're like, no, no, I have to get rid of it. And I was recently in a group with guys, and they were talking about like, oh, I was able to drop the shame, and now I don't feel shame anymore. And I was like, yeah, like I wonder, what if you would listen to it instead of, and I think that's such a big thing that I've loved about connection codes too, where it's like, what if you actually go toward it instead of against it? And that changes so much because we think in our brain that if I fight it, if I ignore it, if I just go against it, it's gonna leave. But it actually gets stronger and stronger, and it just takes over. But when you go toward it with compassion, it's like, oh, you kind of listen to the message, and then you're like, oh yeah, felt shame about this. Maybe I could do better. Maybe I couldn't. But just listening to it changes everything. So I love when you say that about shame specifically, and I've seen you say that in like a faith atmosphere, like groups, and people are just like, what? Like you said that about shame, like because that's the place where we're told not to feel shame ever.
Yeah, we talk about that, and it's the extreme, but a guilt and shame free person is a sociopath. And I'm not trying to create more sociopaths. I want people to feel shame, not drown in it for 3 days. I just want them to grab it and get the message of it and go, what's the shame telling me? Oh, I didn't do that very well. And that might mean you came in 12th place in a race. Well, you came in 12th. You may not be capable. And, each core emotion is asking a question. Hey, Jonathan, can you run faster? And Jonathan's like, no. That was my best personal time ever. And I came in 12th. Oh, okay. No judgment, dude. I'm just asking. You came in 12th. Your goal was to win the race. You didn't win it. Can you do any better? And you're like, nope, I can't. I've been training for this for a year and a half, and that's as good as it gets for me. Okay. There's 11 guys that are running faster than you. I'm just asking you, can you run any faster? And Jonathan's like, nope. that was my max.
Yeah. Now,
Well,
so now that you said this, I'm like, I have a question for you. And I've heard you say this several times, where you're like, I'm not gonna drown in the shame, right? Or I'm not gonna drown in the fear. And
yeah.
then with clients, I definitely have moments, clients and just family and friends, where it's like, wait, if I look at it, I feel like I'm gonna drown on it. Like, let's say sadness, pain.
Hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, like if you look at it, you can process it. But then I get a little bit stuck with when I do see people get drowned in it for several days. And it's like, oh, there's so much pain, and it's just so many days. And I'm like, yeah, what do we do here? And I would love to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, and I think typically, of course, every human's unique, so we have to be careful making these blanket statements. But I think typically that's a trauma response. I always say that I'm allergic to hurt. There's a multiplier in there. So I get hurt at this level, and again, every human's unique, but at this level, but for me, it feels like this level way up here. And so whether it's with Phyllis or whoever, they're just like, wait, what? Like, you nicked your finger on this little sharp object and you're laying on the floor like you're bleeding out. So it's like, how that? Well, I'm allergic to hurt based on a lifetime of being, being or at least feeling rejected, and all the hurt that comes with that. So for me personally, and I've observed this with lots of other humans as well, it's just a matter of processing. So I don't need to process hurt once; I need to process it 7 times. Whereas if Jonathan experienced the same amount of hurt with Monse as I did with Phyllis, he may only need to process it once. I mean, again, every human's unique. I don't know, but for somebody like me, it's an allergic reaction to it. So I just have to tune into that and go, okay, I still feel hurt. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What am I missing? Okay. And I may need to process that one hurt, and again, I'm making up numbers, but 7 times, whereas a bunch of other people might only need to process it 1 time. So if I don't process it 7 times, it's not going to be released for me because I get triggered. Again, I label it as trauma. I think it's a trauma experience from the past that comes into play. And of course, it's really tough for Phyllis because Phyllis is going, wait, what? How did that get so big? Well, it's because of my history in general, but also specifically my history with her. So you just keep processing it as many times as you need to. And I mean, just what we do with kids, unfortunately. Um, they come in, they fell down, they skinned their knee, and one of our kids fell down and skinned their knee, and they just kind of brushed it off, and they cried maybe for 10 seconds, and they're fine. And then another kid experienced the same thing, and we tell them that they're fine. They're not fine. They'll be fine when we tell them to stop crying. They'll stop crying when they are fine. They will let you know when they're fine. And each person is unique, and of course, a lot of us grew up being told that, why aren't you more like your brother, or your cousin, or why can't you be more like that? And so we get the message that we don't matter. We don't exist as a human. We just need to be a version of that other person. And you experience what you experience. Does Jonathan experience it differently than I do? Yep, he does. And he has the right to experience that. Right here outside our window, I don't remember, I guess we were in the cohort. I can't remember, but there was it was about a 4 or 5 foot long black snake that came crawling by, and I can see out. The woods are right here, and I just get flooded with joy. I love snakes. I raised snakes when I was a kid, and I'm just so distracted with it. I mean, I can hardly pay attention. Phyllis is feeling fear. She's like, "Oh my gosh, there's that," and it's outside the window, but like that snake is 10 feet from us, is probably going to attack us and kill us. So I'm flooded with joy. She's flooded with fear, and it's just a different experience. And she has the right to experience what she's experiencing. I have the right to experience what I'm experiencing. And there's probably a lot of people to be sitting here and they see it, they hardly even notice it. They just care. There's virtually no emotion, if maybe zero emotion for them at all. But each of us just experiences what we experience, and we can be safe and gentle with ourselves.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because it's like you said this thing. You said if I don't process it, it doesn't get released.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's it, because like maybe we drown in an emotion because we're fighting it, resisting it.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to feel sad. And then you're like that for so many days. You're feeling sad and it doesn't get released.
Yeah.
And then when you're finally able to say it, it gets released. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, like
Yeah.
like when you said that, I was like, yeah, I love that, because I've seen, again, so many clients, even myself, especially with fear, where I don't say it and I can feel it for so long.
Yeah.
And then when I say it, it gets processed, and it's just crazy, because when you tell that to somebody else, they're like, oh, no, if I say it, I'm going to feel
Right.
it for like so many years, for so many days. And it's like, oh, you're already feeling it.
Yeah.
If you say it, you're going to process it.
Hmm.
So yeah, I loved when you said that because it's like, how do I not get drowned in an emotion?
Yeah.
I say it.
Yeah. And for somebody that does that, that says, I don't want to feel sad, I don't want to feel sad, I don't want to feel sad, or whatever emotion it is, I want to get them to go, I do feel sad. I do feel sad. Ugh, sad, 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 sad. Man, a lot of sad. Then it begins processing. And the sad thing is, the unfortunate thing is, it almost feels right to say, Jonathan, you just talk to yourself and go, I'm not sad. I don't feel sad. I'm not going to feel sad. And well, you do feel sad. So I would rather you just go, whew, I feel sad. When, the Connection Coast story, when we discovered it many years ago, Phyllis's mom was passing away over a period of almost a year. And Phyllis, and she was running her business at the time, Phyllis was, and she would say to me, I don't have time to be sad. And finally, it occurred to me, I'm like, babe, I'm not trying to get you to be sad. You already are sad. So let's just sit and process the sadness. And she was like, I don't have time. I'm like, well, we don't get to choose that. Her mom was her best friend. They were just so close. They talked every day, multiple times a day. And her mom lived in Texas. We were here in Tennessee. So there's a lot of sadness in that. So, and Phyllis would go, well, I don't want to be sad. I don't have time to be sad. And then she would get strangled with the sadness for days. And when she learned to start, and again, she didn't just do it once and for all, but she'd do it, and then whatever, 2.5 hours later, she would process it again, and then 6 hours later, she processed it again. And every time she got hit with sadness, she learned. Again, this is early connection codes for us. She learned how to process it in that moment as it was happening, and then she was functional. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen again because the external stimuli, her mom's sickness, is still there, and that didn't change. And so that sadness, returned, but she just processed it in a minute instead of not processing it in 9 hours. So it's very life changing, life giving for her. Okay, it's too easy to talk to you. Gracious, this will be a 6 hour interview. So I want you to talk about dating, how the connection codes have come into play in dating for you. Because this is, and just I think I've conveyed this to you, but this is new for me as far as the whole connection codes journey, because I had no idea that. I'm like, wait, what? No, no, no. This is about marriage, forget dating. And of course, so I'm a little bit new to the game myself to be like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess this is a dating thing too. So I'd love to hear your experience, as far as how that played out.
Well, it's been crazy with learning how to be a safe person for another person. Um, and also learning how to trust that she's going to be a safe person for me. And I feel like everyone should do connection codes right at the beginning of dating. Why? Because that's when you find out if that person is someone you can be with. And if it's someone you can grow with, I would say. Because, like, if the person's like, no, I'm not going to do any of that, I don't even want to learn, you just got to bear with me the way I am and whatever, that's like, you should probably not stay in that relationship. Um, but, like, and I've seen it in my own life and with other clients that are dating, where it's like, oh, when you see them, it doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter if one has like an extroverted personality, or if their love language is like gifts and the other one is like physical touch, or if they're like, well, I'm Enneagram 9 and I'm Enneagram whatever 2, right? Or if it's like I am INFJ and you're, that whole thing. It doesn't matter when both of them are willing. They're just willing to go for it, and you see them connect. That's just beautiful. And for me, with my girlfriend, I'm like when we started, it was like we've known each other for so long, been friends for, I don't know, like 7 years, but we were never like close friends. And then when I started liking her was when we started talking a little bit more, which was like 2 years ago. And I was like, how did I miss you? Like, how did I miss you in my life this whole time? And you were always there. Um, and just learning that she's a whole different human being from me, and being able to make space for whatever happens for her in her emotions, and her doing the same with me, that's been deeply connecting. And it goes like it's just crazy because when we connect, when she's able to tell me her emotion and I can ooh her and I can tell her my emotion, then everything's way better. Like we just have so much more fun. We feel like we work better together. We live together better. We're not living together, but like, like doing life together. Um, and that's just like something that I've loved so much because like at the very beginning, it was like, oh, I would see her react in a way where I was like, wait, like, do you like me? Do you not like me? Like I'll always get the message of like if she wouldn't want to share something with me, or let's say she was hit with shame and wouldn't want to look at me, I'd be like, oh, like, do you actually want me? Like I would always get the message of like, oh, I don't want to be with you because if I wanted to, then I would be super happy with you all the time. And like I would be just overwhelmingly joyful because you're here. And when I wouldn't see that, I would be like, oh, like I guess you don't want to be with me. And kind of like seeing the process of her opening up to me and what's happening to her and just connecting with her in that has been just priceless. Where it's like, oh, I feel like I'm actually learning to love finally. Like this is it. Like it's not like in the movies, or it's not like I was told like, oh, you guys are gonna click perfectly, and that's how you know they're the one, and then like it's just gonna be amazing all the time, and you're gonna be happily ever after till the end of times. And what I've seen with couples dating and also married, it's like, oh, everyone disconnects. Doesn't matter like what kind of personality they have, they all disconnect. We all disconnect, and we all need to learn how to be present for the experience of the other person. And that sounds so basic, but like in my head, I was like, no, 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 like I won't have any problems if I marry the right person. And I feel like it's more about learning how to love than finding the right person, you know? Like learning how to love the person in front of you and just being like, I'm here for you. Um, and doing that with her has been just, I feel like I've grown so much like a human being, and just my experience of compassion and of being present with someone. And then I feel so safe as well to say what I feel, you know? Like my dog passed away or died like 2 weeks ago. And I was a puddle of tears for like, I don't know, like 2, 3 days. I would just like get reminded of it and I would just cry and cry and cry. And it was beautiful to be able to say that to her, to process it with her and allow her or invite her into my process there. And not just her, also my family. Like, and like you grew up like, well, at least I grew up like, you gotta be strong, like, yeah, maybe it hurts, but you gotta be strong, you gotta keep going, you gotta like, like you can't stay here and the hurt. And I guess just being able to allow the hurt to be there has helped me heal a lot. I mean, it's just my dog passed away, right? Like some people are like, that's just a dog. For me, it was like my dog for 15 years. And I'm like, hey, like I love that dog. Um, but I've realized how when I can process it and invite her into it, it creates a kind of connection that just bonds us together so beautifully and kind of like give us more trust in each other. And it's definitely been a gradual thing. It's not uh like we were perfect at connection codes at the beginning. We're not perfect at connection codes at all. Um, but I guess in dating, what I see is just it opens the space to find out if the other person can be a safe place for you way faster than anything else I've seen out there. Like you could do the Gottman method and the whatever, but connection codes is like right away you're like, whoa, can I trust this person? And as you do it with them, and you see that they can ooh you, that they can be in your experience, that they can actually share what happens for them in your experience, or when they listen to your experience, then that's like, oh yeah, I feel like I can do this with this person. I can do life with this person. Um, so that's how it's been for me. I feel like if we didn't have connection codes, and we were actually talking about that yesterday, where we were like, if we didn't have connection codes, I don't know if we would be together still. Like I would just like be super angry if she would like, I don't know, feel hurt or shame about something, and I'd be like, hey, what's wrong with you? Like you should be happy, like I'm right here with you, kind of a thing. and we probably wouldn't be together anymore. We would have just disconnected so much. And finding this and using it at the very beginning of our relationship and just seeing how it progresses as we go, that's been just so beautiful and so much more better than anything I've ever experienced before. Yeah, it comes to
Yeah,
love
and
and
as
dating.
I've told you, and people need to know that that would have been devastating for you because you would have lost your parents also because they like her a lot more than they like you.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
mm. And so, well, I want to do an interview with you and Monse at some point in the future
That'd be
because
fun.
people are going to adore her.
Yeah.
I mean, I like you, but Monse's the same.
She is.
Um, Well, and of course, Bridget Blood, and Bridget has been so instrumental for me realizing that, oh, okay, we can apply this to a dating scenario.
Yeah.
And what's amazing, and my whole theory, my understanding of all this, because what happens is, whatever, for a heteronormative relationship, this girl, spends time with this guy and it takes her, whatever, 3 to 7 years to realize, oh, he's not safe
Yeah.
for me. So then she does it again, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever. And then all of a sudden she looks up and she's like, shoot, I'm in my early 30s. I thought I'd be married by now and, have a baby or two. And then she realizes, well, I guess I just got to settle or something. And it can be vice versa. It could be for the other
Mm-hmm.
partner as well. And now, Bridget says, "Oh, I can find out within certainly days or weeks, if not sometimes hours, that this guy's never going to be safe for me, and he's never going to be authentic with me."
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. And it's still painful,
Mm-hmm.
but I figured that out in 3 days instead of 3 years.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And of course, we've gotten to spend time with you and Monse, and I just love your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because you're I don't know what to call that, but you're actually advanced in this. You're so far ahead. I wish I had had this pre-marriage.
Mm.
Phyllis and I stumbled, and it's not because we didn't care about each other, and it's not because we didn't marry the right one. I don't think there is a right one.
Yeah.
We didn't marry the right way. We had no idea. We had no tools, no understanding,
Mm-hmm.
and stayed lost from each other for so long. Okay, we got to move on. The Spanish world. So this is,
Yeah.
you and I have talked about this a lot. And of course, your parents are in on this too, which is just spectacular.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that.
The Spanish world. Well, what are we doing there? We translated the book, right? So you guys can find it on Amazon already. It's an ebook right now. So we kind of want to have as many sales as we can for the ebook so that we can print it. Um, and we are just working, especially with businesses, where it's like, oh, if we can get into the business and change the business culture, then we're gonna get with the families, because like it's like, I don't know, the CEO is just terrible at his job or whatever, or maybe he's really good but he's completely disconnected from his family. When we start touching emotional stuff with them, it's like, oh, like you can also have this with your family. So we kind of like started focusing a lot on that, and also a lot on how as an individual you can do this. How can you process your emotions? How can you just have the whole connection codes language and framework for your own life with your friends, with your family, and all of that. So we've been doing all that, the website and all that stuff. um and that's kind of like where we are right now, kind of like building all the foundation blocks for that to like just like kick off. But it's been definitely like a slower process than I thought we were gonna just like do it in 2 weeks and then it was just gonna be fine. And I'm like, oh, it's way harder to start something, and it isn't even from scratch because we have all the things that you guys did and we just kind of like bring it to the Spanish world. But it does feel like it's from scratch sometimes, and it's like, ooh.
And I just love your passion. And that's also something just the last year or two that I've realized that it's going to take a whole bunch of people who have that vision like you do. And I think Spanish, if I remember correctly, is the third largest language group in the
Yeah,
world.
something
I
like
think
that.
that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's way up there, as far because if if I remember correctly, there's 21 nations that are just Spanish speaking, and then 14 more that Spanish is a kind of a co language.
Yeah.
That's just a big field
Mm-hmm.
out there, and I love it that you have that passion. And my Spanish is a little rusty, you may have noticed, so I'm just really thankful that there are people like you. Hey, I can say a few things.
You definitely
Uh,
can.
yeah, thank you very much. Um, but I got a long way to go to be able to. And it was just amazing. And for those who don't know, when we were speaking in Mexico, Jonathan was our translator, which was a wild experience. And I did not realize how many words that I used that it's like, well, that doesn't really translate well into this
Yeah.
other language. So that was a interesting experience. But just for your vision with this is just so beautiful and needed that
Mm-hmm.
because it's your world,
Yeah.
and that's happening, in German, in the German speaking countries now, and
Mm-hmm.
with French and other languages, and that's just so exciting.
Yeah. And I love
Because
like
I've always thought in terms of, oh, I'm just going to have to go learn Spanish. Oh, I'm just going to have to go learn French, and it's like, wait, no, get Jonathan to do it. He's much more capable than me.
gonna be probably a little bit faster than learning the whole language.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and I love it because there's people like there's now people in Spain that are doing it. There's people in
yeah,
Colombia that are doing it, and it's like it's spreading,
yeah,
and I just love it. I love seeing people get connected so fast and so easily. I mean,
yeah,
it does take effort to adopt connection codes fully into your life, but um,
yeah.
I just love the gift of seeing people from other countries that speak Spanish that are like, we want this, we want to do this, we want to work with this, we want to learn how to do this, and
Right.
it's just so amazing, especially because like I don't know, there's so many things out there, like you said, like
Mm-hmm.
church things, like psychology things, new age things, whatever, and this just works so well and so fast,
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, we don't have to go and do all those things, like we can just connect as humans right now. um
yeah,
so that's something I love to see in the Spanish speaking world and how it's actually happening now, and just
yeah.
seeing amazing people like you and Hubert as well that just go and like speak in so many big places and have all these big connections, and it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, like it's exciting. I love it.
Yeah, and there's especially in the Spanish speaking world, I think doesn't have quite as much stuff out there that's in Spanish, and so the fact that you have a passion for that, such a heart for it, is just massive, and is truly already changing culture, and it's going to be huge down the road. And every culture has its challenges. I'm not aware of a couple of subcultures that do connection well, but the vast majority around the world don't. And so, for us to get this into every culture, so that's just a gift. Okay, before we run out of time, we have to talk about coaching. Tell us what's happening with Spanish coaching.
Spanish coaching. Yeah. So we are working on starting the coaching certification in Spanish. So
Wow.
basically there's a whole bunch of people that are like, I want to be certified, and you saw it when you came, and it's like people just want to get certified and learn how to do this and how to coach other people. So we're
Yeah,
working on just having the whole framework the same way that you guys have it in English, because the
yeah,
heart of it
yeah.
is like we want it to be the same thing. The thing that helped us, the thing that helped my family, that helped me,
Hmm.
available in our language. So we're like working on doing that, and we might have. I'm not gonna say dates yet because I'm fearing saying that, because then I'm like, oh, if it doesn't happen on that date, people are gonna be
Yeah,
like, you said this in the podcast, and there's evidence
yeah,
out there. Um,
yeah.
but we're working on getting our first cohort in Spanish. Yeah. So if you guys want to know more, you can go to the
Yeah,
Connection Codes website in Spanish, give us
yeah,
your email, and you can also email us there and be like, hey, when are you guys going to do this?
yeah.
Yeah, Connection Codes website
Wow.
in Spanish is es.connectioncodes.com. So ES for Spanish.
Yeah, and I do want to say, and I'm not trying to be critical, but I went to your website and I couldn't understand hardly anything on there. So,
Right.
I don't know what the problem is.
Probably a language barrier there or something.
Oh, I don't think it was that. Well, dude, I'm just honored and again just thrilled. I mean, and I'm so excited about our future together. We're already reaching people, touching
Hmm.
hearts and lives, and changing the world. And we're going to laugh a long time into the future,
Yeah.
getting to do this. Okay, we always do the wheel together. I asked you before if you could do the wheel for us to model this. This is our 2-minute tool, and it works in every language. It doesn't matter. It's just
Hmm.
human. It doesn't work with camels. That's been disappointing to discover. But it works with humans, any language. It's been translated. We have no idea how many languages around the world. But our 2-minute tool, if you haven't downloaded it already, go to the connectcodes.co in the English part and download it. And what Jonathan already mentioned in Spanish, because you got to do this. We need to exercise our emotional muscle.
Yeah.
For most of us, it is atrophied so horribly we don't even recognize. We pick up, this thing we don't even know what the heck it is, and then we find out, oh, that's loneliness. I didn't even recognize lonely. I
Hmm.
didn't know that I'm getting hit with loneliness so much, and so we exercise the emotional muscle, so we start recognizing these emotions, which we did when we were 12 months old, and we forgot along the way through lots of ingredients, lots of people, interactions, circumstances,
Yeah.
environment, etc. So, but this is the wheel. Jonathan's going to demonstrate it for us.
Okay.
2 minutes,
Great.
2 stinking minutes a
2
day
minutes.
to
Not
do
the
this, and
not the
has the
seven
emotional muscle.
not the 7 minute wheel that we did earlier.
No, 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 not so.
2 minutes. Okay. Fear, definitely fear for this podcast. Like I was like,
Mm,
oh, like I need to have everything ready, and just this whole I had never used what we used for the podcast before, so I was like, I need to make sure it's ready. So fear with that.
yeah.
A little bit lonely with finding my microphone because I
Mm,
used it. Lonely with myself and kind of like shame there too, where I'm like, I always have that where I get where I leave things,
yeah.
and I'm like, like where did I leave it? Like I used it like 3 weeks ago, and now I can't find it. So a little bit lonely there. Um, Thankfully my dad helped me there, so joy with that because he found it. Um, a lot of joy that we got to do this, that we got to be here and talk about this, and just that I got to be here. I'm like, wow, so much joy there.
Cool.
Um, Sad yesterday that it was today in the morning and yesterday night where my girlfriend was just getting hit with so much
Mm,
hurt and so much sadness.
uh,
Sat there like I'm like, oh, like that happens for you, hurt, because when that happens I always hear it like I'm not enough for her to be happy,
mm,
which I
uh,
know that's not what happens for her, but that's what I hear, and I just get hit
yeah.
with hurt there. Anger also because I wanted to fix it and just be like, oh, just feel happy,
Yeah. Mm,
But joy that I got to just woo her and be present with her,
yeah.
and that she's doing way better right now. So a lot of joy
Wow.
with that too.
Yeah.
And guilt. Hmm. I felt guilt. Well, just a little bit of guilt that I eat these chips. I don't know if you know them. They're from Costco. They're
Mm.
really good, and they just make me super gassy and they bloat my stomach. But every time I see the bag, I just can't help it. There's joy for me there. So guilt that
Yeah.
I ate some like
Yeah.
a couple minutes ago, probably
Yeah.
because I was feeling fear and I was like, I just need some joy from these chips. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, guilt there because I know it doesn't help my body. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I hear that.
did
Wow.
I say everything already?
Dude, I lost count.
Yeah, I think I
Uno,
did.
dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis.
Yeah,
I
I
lost
did.
count.
I did.
I don't know if I can
Ocho.
count that.
Ocho emociones.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all that. I'm just, and I'm serious. I'm just, and one, the upside to connection goes relationally is you just connect with so many people. The downside is there's too many people.
Yeah.
But Jonathan and Monse are on a short list that I want to always get to live life
Oh,
with you because you're very, very special, very dear
I love that.
to us. So we just want to wrap up by letting you know, no matter what language it's in, the Connection Codes, our goal is every language group in the world. But no matter what language is in, we do all of this because you need this, you deserve this. So let's do this.
Yeah.